Let's see if this will change our perspective of competitive games. Let's see it.
You know what's kind of weird? When someone asks what kind of games do you like, most people struggle to answer. You say tactical shooters, and they respond, oh, so you must like Counter-Strike, Valorant, and Rainbow Six Siege. And you say, actually only Counter-Strike. You say strategy games, and someone recommends you Civilization, when you wanted
What?
something more like Hearthstone. Game genres are kind of broken. But I think there's a better way to think about this. And it's a much simpler way to look at games. And once you see it, you'll see games
can't see
much more
shit.
differently. But let's start somewhere everyone can agree. Every game has something that separates the good players from the bad ones. Sometimes it's pure skill. Your reflexes,
Yep,
your
I got
aim,
that.
your timing. Sometimes it's information, knowing things the other person doesn't.
All that.
Sometimes it's something harder to name. The mental side. Reading people,
I don't got that.
managing randomness, and adapting on the fly. These aren't just different skills, they are fundamentally different kinds of gameplay, and most games mix them together in different amounts. So let me give you 3 words. Micro, meso, macro.
What?
Now here's where it gets interesting, and a little uncomfortable. What if I told you the clearest way to understand what a game is actually testing is to think about how you'd cheat in it? If you wanted to
What?
completely break a game to make it trivially easy, what cheat would you use?
Nothing,
The
because I'm the
answer to
goat.
that question tells you more about a game than any genre label ever could. So let's put this to the test. What is micro? Micro
Oh
is the
my.
execution layer. It's your aim, your timing, your movement, your muscle memory. An example of a micro cheat:
Yo,
your timing, your movement.
why is it the keyboard angled at like 90 degrees? What is that? Bro, what is that? Bro, why would you do that? Dude.
Your muscle memory. An example of a micro cheat looks like an aimbot. Perfect inputs every single time. If a game can be broken by perfect execution, that's a micro game. Osu, Geometry Dash, Aim Trainers, and Tetris are a few examples. You can cheat in Osu with perfect cursor tracking. You can cheat in Geometry Dash with perfect jumps. These are execution cheats, and you can feel the microness when you play them.
Okay.
Meso is the probability layer, the place where mind games exist. You're reacting to the unpredictable nature of people, not mechanics. A meso cheat looks like stream sniping, knowing someone's habits before they show them, reading cooldowns, seeing things you shouldn't see yet. The best example for the purest meso game is rock, paper, scissors. There's zero
I know that one.
execution skill. It's entirely mental and probability. Among Us also runs on meso. So does Liar's Bar. Even the stock market is built around this layer. If you wanted to cheat in Among Us, you'd stream snipe to know who the imposter is. If you wanted to cheat in stocks, you'd insider trade. Notice how none of these cheats involve executing anything better. They involve knowing something you shouldn't. Macro is the system's layer. It's your routing, your resource management, and your win condition. You can think of it like the mathematically correct way of winning the game. A macro cheat looks like a chess engine, economy automation, or you can imagine like a perfect coach telling you exactly what to do.
Darren,
Okay.
ping it. Ping it. We need to let our team know what's up.
Pure macro games are almost mathematical puzzles. Think Factorio, Polybridge,
What?
Connect 4, Tic-Tac-Toe. Once you find the optimal
Oh,
solution,
I'm good with
the
tic-tac-toe.
game is solved. But here's where it gets really interesting. Most games aren't just one of these. They're combinations of them. And the combination tells you everything about what kind of game it is.
If I got all these 3, does that make me a cheater? Is like I'm the goat at like all of the 3 things?
So let's look at micro plus macro. These tend to be single-player precision games. You need to know the optimal solution and
Ew!
execute it fast. Think Rubik's Cube speedrunning, Mario 64, Jump King, and getting over it. If you were to have a perfect micro cheat in Elden Ring, you'd have perfect dodges. But if you were to have a perfect macro cheat, you'd use the mathematically optimal build. But there's one weird multiplayer outlier here. 8-ball pool. There's a mathematically optimal shot, and then there's the skill of actually hitting it. So even though it is player versus player, the room for mind games doesn't really exist. And I think it's a rare exception. Next, let's look at Micro plus Meso. This is PvP skill expression games. These tend to be your fighting games. Street Fighter,
Dude,
Tekken.
I feel like this game you just spam and then whoever spams better just wins.
Smash Bros, Brawlhalla. Your skill matters and reading your opponents matters. But also you have some other examples like Mario Kart, like
I'm
the
good at
micro
that.
of driving, and the
Yep.
meso of random
Hey,
items and
Hey, proof? Look at this crown. Yep.
unpredictable opponents. We even see some unique games like Tetris 99. The original Tetris is pure micro, but Tetris 99 also involves meso, because now you're managing who to send the garbage to. You also have physics-based PvP, like Fall Guys and Gang Beasts, which also fits into micro plus meso. The next one is meso plus macro. These are the mind and math games. Think Hearthstone, TFT, Pokemon
Boring.
VGC, and Battleship. Now, chess is theoretically a pure macro game, but at the human level, there's a massive meso component. You're optimizing for your specific opponent's habits. That's why studying opponent matters in high-level chess. And then there are some weird outliers. Balatro is a single-player game, but it's also meso-macro because the RNG of the card combines with the math of maximizing your hand. You're not executing anything difficult, but you have to pick and choose your cards wisely, and play to their biggest strength. Phasmophobia is also a weird game that fits into meso-macro. It's a co-op game, but it fits here because you're deducing a ghost using evidence, which is macro, while the ghost behavior has RNG, meso. Although I suspect
hell no.
non-PvP meso-macro games slowly converge towards pure macro over time. Once players fully map the RNG, it stops feeling uncertain and becomes a speedrun problem. And then there's the middle, all three overlapping. This is where the biggest competitive games live. League of Legends, Dota 2, CS2, Valorant, Overwatch, Marvel Rivals, Rocket League, Apex, Rainbow Six, World of Warcraft. But here's the thing.
Wait,
they're not all
WoW has competitive?
Apex, Rainbow Six, World of Warcraft.
Wait, it has 1v1s like against people? I thought you only fight like against like bosses or something.
But here's the thing. They're not all the same balance. And the cheat test tells you how exactly they differ. So let's use Counter-Strike as an example. Can aimbot win a game of CS completely alone?
Yes.
Almost certainly yes.
Yep.
If you never miss, most duels are over before they start. That makes micro extremely high in CS2. But what about X-Ray, seeing through
As a 40k Andy in CS?
walls? Pros
Kind
have done
of.
experiments with one player with X-Ray versus 5 without X-Ray. The 5
yeah,
still
yeah.
usually win, but the X-Ray player takes rounds they have no business taking. This makes Meso very high in CS2 too, which means macro, the strategic layer, is relatively the lowest. CS isn't about long-term economy optimization the way MOBAs are. The rounds are short and the execution is everything. But let's try
Okay.
this test with Overwatch, and right away we see a unique case, because the answer actually depends on your role. But since it varies so heavily by character and roles, I decided to ask someone who knows about Overwatch
Me?
way better than I do.
Oh, that's where I come in. Yo.
So if you compare all three like
Oh,
maxed out versions of the perfect version of it,
Wow.
like a cheat
kind of
version of
rude.
it, which one would have like the highest win rate and how would the distribution be?
I would just say support is more max.
No. Support is what is the win and the yeah, I don't fucking know.
Micro heavy.
Just go ahead.
DPS is more micro heavy, and then tank is more meso heavy.
No. Yo, Yo, like you need to be smart as heals, and if you don't have heals, you don't win. You know. Hey, you need the brains for heals. You need to know when to ult and how to use it, and how where you are like positioned, and yeah, you know. Other ones, you need DPS. You need aim, and the other tank, you need to be smart, and yeah, basically.
Oh, okay.
Also, the way that it works is you have offense, defense, and control.
Yep.
Control refers to like map control. Offense
Yeah.
refers to offensive options. Defense refers to defensive options.
Yeah.
And if you a character's mixture or like kind of design links to this concept of offense, defense, and control. Tanks
Mhm.
tend to depend on more control, supports more defense, DPS more offense, and if you
That's what I said.
actually like dissect each individual hero, they will have different like varying levels or varying focuses on offense, defense, or control.
So I'm thinking about it like this, right? If you were to give each role one cheat, you would give aimbot to DPS,
Mhm.
and
Yes,
for
yeah.
tank, you would give the ability to see enemy cooldowns as a perfect cheat, right? And
Yeah.
for supports, you would have a coach or an engine, perfect coach.
Yes,
in your head.
that's perfect.
A
That's
coach?
exactly perfect. And also, especially in Overwatch, because it's 5v5, because you only have one tank. Like, if you can win every duel as a tank,
Wait, it says
that's kind of like a
5v5?
free win for your team.
But what about Apex? Apex sits remarkably balanced across all three. If you think about which player is most likely to win, a guy with perfect aimbot, a guy with perfect wall hacks, or a guy with perfect ring knowledge, all three actually has a pretty good chance of winning the game. If you have aimbot, you can easily kill anyone rotating, but any close range fight will tend to go either way. But with perfect wall hacks, you can use your nades and abilities to take a team down, but you'll still lose to someone with good ring positioning. But even with perfect ring information, you could still easily die to someone who wants to contest that position. But let's test this in a really unique game. Rocket League. I asked Pro Rocket League coach Luke on his answer to this thought experiment, and this was his response. Basically, perfect micro or perfect mechanic
That was all his response?
experiment, and this was his response.
We didn't know that.
Basically, perfect micro or perfect mechanics in Rocket League would be defined as taking the ball from point A to point B as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Like how in a first-person shooter, aimbot moves the crosshair to the target as quickly and as efficiently as possible. For Rocket League, smarts cannot make up for the fact that a more mechanical person can just take the ball to the open net far more than someone with less mechanics. This makes Rocket League heavily micro-dominant. But after micro being the most dominant, he put macro second and meso last. This is because even if perfect meso allows you to hear enemy comms or see enemy boost,
It don't matter.
doesn't change the fact that all information in Rocket League is able to be known at all times. And for how fast-paced the game is at the highest level, listening to a perfect coach verbatim would be better over hearing enemy comms or seeing enemy boost. Also, the closest thing to perfect micro in Rocket League is the AI bots. I came across footage of 3 semi-pro players versing 3 of the best Rocket League AI.
Crap, and you're
And the 3 AI bots were able to win comfortably. So here's what this framework actually gives you. It helps classify games, but it also helps understand yourself as a player. I noticed something when I looked at which games I genuinely enjoy. I gravitate toward games in the middle, the full micro meso macro cluster,
me too,
and toward pure micro and pure macro. But I don't really
Put it here. Marvel Rivals, yes. Yeah. Fortnite, okay. Yeah.
enjoy micro macro games. Speedrunning doesn't scratch the right itch for me.
Does that mean I like League? Oh no.
Really enjoy micro macro games. Speedrunning doesn't scratch the right itch for me. And when I looked at why, it mapped exactly. In Apex, I'd argue I aim pretty well and have respectable movement. I'd say I also have a solid understanding of rotations and ring positioning, but I tend to tunnel vision in close quarter fights, specifically when we're in the same building. So I tend to miss mezzo reads when the pressure is high. And this exactly explains the gap in my game. Because here's the real insight. Every player has a natural lean. Some people are micro players. They grind mechanics obsessively, and they want the skill gap to feel fair. Some people are mezzo players. They love reading people, and they thrive in the chaos of PvP randomness. Like we even see a common cluster of people who play Among Us, GTA RP, luck-based games like gambling, along with many other party games. And then we also see that some players are macro players. They love efficiency, they draw routes on maps, they think about the game between games more than during it. And most of us are a mix, but not an equal mix. The games that frustrate you the most, they're probably demanding something your brain doesn't naturally give. The games you keep
look where Elden
they're
Ring
probably-
is! Here! Nah!
demanding something your brain doesn't naturally give. The games you keep coming back to, they're probably rewarding the part of you that already runs at full power. Genre labels never told you any of this. Action RPG doesn't tell you whether you'll be grinding execution, reading opponents, or solving systems. It just tells you there's a sword and a level bar. And maybe more importantly, you can stop blaming yourself when a game doesn't click. Cause maybe the games are testing things you haven't built yet. In my case, it's the underdevelopment of mezzo. And that's the three dimensions of games: micro, mezzo, macro. Every game lives somewhere inside them. And now that you know where to look, you'll never see a game the same way again.
What? I see all the games the same. Bruh. You just mentioned everything that I have, literally. Bro, I'm just, you know, I got all of the skills. Literally all of it. That was a good video.